What's going on YouTube? Chun is back. I got another standard battle for you guys today. This is against dany383, who I found on Smogon. Definitely want to apologize to you guys for not uploading in a while. It's been about a week and a half or so. Maybe 2 weeks by the time I actually get this uploaded. But trying to get settled with my new job, things like that. Just kind of getting my grown man on. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to lead with Glasgow. He is going to lead with Fortress. I go straight for the taunt on the first turn, not wanting to overpredict a switch or anything like that. He does go for the Stealth Rock. This turn I'm going to set up my own Stealth Rock. And he goes for Gyro Ball. I actually thought it would switch out here, but he ends up staying in. Now, I have two ways to deal with this Fortress. I can do it the slow way with Glasgow and just Earthquake it till it dies. Or I can take it out with Tyranitar, and I decide to go into Tyranitar at the risk of taking a Gyro Ball because it is a bait tar with the Berry Berry, and I risk burning it, but he goes for Rapid Spin. And here I show him that I do have the Flamethrower, which, good news is I don't have to deal with entry hazards now since this Flamethrower will take Fortress out. But the bad news is if he's got Caesar, which he does, he's gonna be able to play around Tyranitar now because I sprung the surprise really early. So he now goes into Swampert. I'm gonna switch out and go to Gliscor. For some reason I thought the Swampert was Curse Pert and he would go for a Curse, but in hindsight it was a really bad play on my part. He goes straight for the Aqua Tail. And even if he was Curse Pert, it's way too early to set up, so I pay for it pretty big. I barely live with 2 HP. Judging by how much damage this did, I'm pretty sure it's a Choice Banded Swampert, so I go into Gyarados just to get the Intimidate off and take away the possible attack boost if he is banded. He goes for Aqua Tail again, so it definitely tells me he's choiced in some kind of way. So he's going to switch out, and yeah, he's definitely Choice Banded. I'm going to go for Dragon Dance, in case he wanted to bring in something that would normally outspeed me, but possibly after a Dragon Dance I would outspeed his switch in, and I do, as it turns out to be a Celebi. Now I see the leftovers, so I'm going to go for the taunt here, predicting either a Thunder Wave or a Nasty Plot, or even if he attacked, Celebis usually carry some type of support move or boosting move, but he does go for Thunder Wave, so it was pretty awesome. I thought he would stay in here because after seeing Thunder Wave and leftovers, I'm pretty sure it was physically defensive, so I went for the Stone Edge, but he's actually going to switch out and go back to Swampert. And here I contemplated switching out, seeing as my Gyarados was so low, and leaving him for Death Fodder later on, or maybe getting him Intimidate on another one of his guys. But in the end I just decided to stay in and go straight for the Waterfall, do as much damage as possible. It almost takes out his Swampert because I really don't have anything on this team that can hit this Swampert super effectively. But it goes for Stone Edge, it does hit, and it will take out my Gyarados. Now, here in real time, I was actually debating who I wanted to switch in for a long time, but in the end I go with Gliscor, and I just finish it off with an Earthquake. And his Swampert does go down. He is now going to go into his Caesar. So I decide that I'm going to try to set up rocks, thinking maybe he would want to go for a Pursuit, but he doesn't. He goes straight for the Bullet Punch and takes out my Gliscor. So things are about even. I'm actually going to go into Tyranitar here, and I go straight for the Flamethrower, and I immediately regretted it because I was terrified a Heatran was going to come in because I saw Swampert and Celebi earlier, but his Fire type ends up being Infernape, which left me just as terrified because Infernape presents a whole different set of problems because I have no idea what type of Infernape this is. So I'm going to switch out and go to Starmie, hope he goes for the close combat, and he does. And I hadn't shown him my Starmie yet, so I knew it would be a pretty good switch in. Although he could have had Grass Knot or something. But anywho, he does go for the close combat. Starmie still takes a crap load, even though Starmie resists. So he's going to switch out and go to Celebi. I go for the obvious Hydro Pump. I really didn't want to go for anything else because I didn't want to risk Infernape staying in if he wanted to be ballsy and do that and try to take Starmie out. But anywho, Hydro Pump doesn't do that much. I'm going to switch out here and go to Flygon. I was predicting a Thunder Wave or something, whatever the Celebi wanted to do. I knew Flygon could take him on because I outsped. So he does go for his Grass Stab, which turns out to be Grass Knot. And here I'm going to go for the U-turn. But he's going to switch out and go back to Infernape, which I figured even if he did that, then at least I would get switch advantage, if nothing else. So Infernape takes almost nothing, but I do get the switch advantage. I go to Starmie because I did some quick math, and I knew he would survive the Sandstone damage. And I do live with 8 HP. Now here, not wanting to risk missing a Hydro Pump, I just go straight for the Thunderbolt because I was pretty confident a Life Orb Starmie Thunderbolt would take out an Infernape. That and I am Modest Nature, but unfortunately the Life Orb recoil will take down my Starmie. So it's a double down, and double downs are always interesting. He's going to go into his last poke, Gengar, which I haven't seen yet. I'm going to go to Flygon based on what I had seen so far. And after seeing his Gengar switch out and go into Scizor, I know Flygon outspeeds pretty much, it outspeeds everything on his team. I go for Outrage. That was a really bad play in my opinion because I knew he had Scizor and I went for Outrage anyway. But he actually is going to set up a Swords Dance. I thought he would Bullet Punch here. And the Swords Dance surprised me a little bit. But the game is forgiving, and I only get a 2-turn Outrage, so I am able to switch out and not be locked in for another turn. I go to Jirachi here because he's the only poke I have that can take on the Scizor at +2. And I knew I could live a hit even if he decided to go to +4. But instead he goes for the Bullet Punch. It barely does a quarter. And after leftovers, it's going to take 4 more Bullet Punches to take me out. I go straight ahead for the Thunderbolt, and seeing as I went first, I know he didn't go for Bullet Punch, he went for another move, maybe Brick Breaker, Superpower, or something like that. So his Scizor does go down, things are looking pretty good. He goes to Celebi. I'm going to switch out here predicting a Thunder Wave, or whatever the Celebi wants to do. He does go for Thunder Wave. As I go into Flygon, I'm going to go for a U-turn again. This time he actually decides to stay in. And I thought because of the 4x weakness and the fact that my Flygon's Adamant Nature, this U-turn would take Celebi out. But he actually lives, which I was a little surprised about. So seeing that he lived, I just decided to go into Tyranitar here, which was kind of risky. But he goes for Recover, which it kind of tells me maybe he knew he would live, but not really sure. So I decided to stay in here because I figured I could live a Grass Knot since I'm in the sand now and I got the Rock type special defense boost. And the Grass Knot does a lot, but I do live it. And I go straight for the Stab Crunch. And the Crunch will take Celebi out. So it looks like I've got this game in the bag. His last poke is Gengar. And I thought he might be a sub-splitter, which would explain the moves that I made earlier with Flygon, but I didn't want it setting up a sub, that's why I went for Outrage. But anywho, he goes for Shadow Ball, probably not wanting to risk missing a Focus Blast or something like that. I go for the Crunch, not wanting him to set up a sub. The Crunch will take him out as I live the Shadow Ball, which I'm sure he was surprised about, and that's going to be the game. Great game, Danny. Definitely hope to play you again. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub, and Chun is out. Peace.